At least 11 people have been killed in an accident between a taxi and long-distance bus on the R61 between Flagstaff and Lusikisiki in the Eastern Cape. Let's get more details. We've got Unathi Binqose, who is the spokesperson for the Eastern Cape Transport Department. He joins us this afternoon from Bisho. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Perhaps you can start by giving our viewers a sense of the circumstances under which this collision happened.
It is a head-on collision involving a minibus taxi that was fully loaded with 15 people, including the driver. It collided with one of these long-distance buses. We understand that the bus had 18 people inside, and sadly, it's 11 people that have died, all of which were in the minibus taxi. It's one of those roads between Lusikisiki and Flagstaff. Those who know that road can attest to the twists and turns that it has. Twists and turns that demand that a driver slows down and, doesn't just overtake when it is not safe to do so. Sadly, it appears as though one of the two drivers may have negated those restrictions and went ahead and overtook, leading to this accident that has claimed 11 lives now. Initially, we had reported on 9 people that had died, but sadly 2 more bodies were discovered as our emergency and rescue personnel continue to work on the scene. So the death toll now stands at 11, 9 adults and 2 children that have passed on in this accident.
Very sad. 9 adults and 2 children confirmed to have passed away in that accident. With the recognition that the stretch of road that you've just described to us is a dangerous stretch, what kind of steps should be taken or will be taken by the department in the province to perhaps make the road a little safer, whether it being increasing police visibility to make sure that drivers are not overspeeding, or some kind of barricades introduced in that particular stretch of road?
It will be advisable that road users, motorists in particular, remember what they were taught when they were doing their learner's licenses and driver's licenses. Because a lot of accidents that we are seeing in the province are down to my behavior and your behavior as a road user. Head-on collisions are always telling us that story, that one of the 2 drivers sadly was on the wrong side of the road when the accident happens. And so we are driving the message home, particularly on motorists, to abide by the rules of the road at all times. And of course, the need for the high visibility of traffic law enforcement officers as a deterrent is something that we are applying, given the spate of head-on collisions that we have seen in the province over the past couple of months, or even years for that matter. And this week has been one of those weeks that have been encouraging, because up to this point of this accident, which happened some 3 hours ago, we've had a relatively quiet weekend in the Eastern Cape. We haven't had any fatal crashes up until this one. So we will double our efforts to increase our visibility. But we understand that we cannot win this fight alone. We will need you and I, as a road user, to respect the rules of the road at all times. And of course, everyone, including passengers, if you are seeing that the person that is driving for you is being a bit reckless, you have every right to call that person to order and even ask to be offloaded from the vehicle. So we are driving a campaign that says "Musuktula Sonagala," don't keep quiet when things are going wrong, to avoid things like this from recurring.
How frequent are accidents on the stretch of road, the R61 between Flagstaff and Lusikisiki? How many reports or incidents of this nature does the department in the province get?
In all honesty, that particular stretch of the road is not notorious for fatal accidents. However, in the Eastern Cape, as much as I hate to admit it, we are seeing a lot of head-on collisions, but most of them are happening on the N2. It's 100 and probably 300 stretch from Mthatha to East London. That road is proving to be a headache for us as a department, and not so much the R61 between Flagstaff and Lusikisiki. Despite its twists and turns, we haven't had many accidents, certainly not in recent months and certainly not in recent years. A lot of accidents we've seen in the Mthatha area, in the Kai Cuttings area between East London and Butterworth. That's where we have seen a lot of accidents, which has demanded that we double our efforts there. However, we will certainly keep an eye on this particular stretch of the road to ensure that we do not see a recurrence of what we have witnessed this Sunday.
Will the department be assisting the families of those who were killed in this accident at all?
The department is, through its agency, which is the Road Accident Fund, is assisting families of those who incur injuries and those unfortunately who pass on in accidents of this nature. It is through the Department of Transport's agency, which is Road Accident Fund, that we are assisting those who have fallen and those who have sustained injuries on our roads. So this accident will be treated no differently. But as the Eastern Cape Department of Transport specifically, ours is to ensure that we do all it takes to avoid a similar accident from happening. But the support that we'll certainly be giving will be particularly to our traffic law enforcement officers, all the emotional support, because they get to witness these gory scenes that may affect them psychologically. So we'll provide the necessary support to them. And of course, that psychological support will be extended to the family through our colleagues from the Department of Social Development. Road Accident Fund will be there to assist in terms of the burial and related things.
And then finally, how far are you all with the mop-up operations on that stretch of road? Has it been completely cleared, or are the teams still on the scene working on clearing it up?
The injured have been taken to hospital, all of them. And of course, we've had 4 people that sustained minor injuries and were not keen to be transported to hospital, and we respected that. The deceased have been taken to a government mortuary, and families are allowed. In fact, they have begun streaming in to identify the bodies of their loved ones. The road remains partially closed as we are waiting those heavy trucks to come and retrieve the wreckage of the bus in particular. This is one of those small, remote and rural towns that do not have all the resources. So we are waiting a heavy-duty recovery truck to come and assist us with the wreckage of the bus.
And one would assume, I can see your connection is failing us somewhat, but if you could quickly let us know in what way the traffic has been redirected in the meanwhile.
Traffic law enforcement are on the ground. They are directing traffic. We are not encouraging people to use alternative routes. This road is still accessible to them, but we are calling on them to approach with caution.
Thank you very much, Unathi Binqose, who is the spokesperson for the Eastern Cape Transport Department, confirming there that it is now 11 people that have died as a result of that particular accident. 9 of them adults, 2 of them children. Families have already started to make their way to the mortuary to identify the bodies of their loved ones who've been lost in that head-on collision.